light shine bright. So, with this music, we minister, we heal, we bring edification. Let my light shine bright. Let my light shine.
All right, Elder Lawyer. Now let's get that same exact story when Esau came back from the hunt after killing or beheading Nimrod. Right?
Yes, sir.
Let's get that in the book of Genesis. Let's go there. Now remember this, folks. All of what we're reading is and was God's plan. So we're not supposed to take what Esau doing personally. Okay? When Solomon sinned, what did he do? Let me show you. Matter of fact, let's read this first in Genesis. With him coming back from the hunt. Right? Genesis 25 and 29.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse number 29.
Read.
And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint.
Why was he faint? This is after the war against Nimrod and his men. See how important the book of Jasher is and why the Bible refers to this book? Read.
And Jacob sowed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
Therefore was his name called Edom. There was rare meat, undone. And it's against the law to eat rare meat. Why? Because the soul is in the blood. Once you cook out the blood, the Most High made it where there's a sweet savor that comes out of the pot through the smoke. And that sweet savor tells us the meat is done. If you see blood floating at the top, you know that the soul of the animal is still alive. Right? 31.
Yes, sir. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright.
Sell me this day.
And Esau said,
Sell me this day thy birthright. Read.
And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me?
I'm going to die anyway.
And Jacob's.
Right? I'm going to die anyway. Why did he think he was going to die? You would never understand the depths of this particular chapter, this incident, if you didn't have the book of Jasher. See, what you mean you're going to die? Something must have happened here. Right? 33.
And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he sware unto him. And he sold his birthright unto Jacob.
And he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Read.
34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Esau despised his birthright. You have to understand the birthright is the gift and covenant from God. See? Being short-sighted. So if you despise your birthright, then the Most High says, Jacob, have I loved Esau, have I hated? Because that was a show of hate towards the God who gave covenant to Abraham. See? And it teaches us that. Let's go to the book of Hebrews real quick and let's read it. because the New Testament gives it even more clarity. Chapter, verse, Elder.
Yes, sir. The book of Hebrews, chapter 12, and verse number 15.
12, verse 15. Read it.
Hebrews 12 and 15. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled.
Don't let bitterness steer you negative. So when you're over emotional, when you're bitter, Satan comes in. And these are the things that turn Esau totally dark. Read.
Verse 17 or verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
For one morsel of meat sold his birthright. So when you look at this is a chain of events that led to Esau going dark. Jealousy, bitterness. And then he sold his birthright, lived through it, and then he wanted to try to go get the blessing at the end of his father's life, not realizing he already what? Sealed the deal after selling his birthright to Jacob. So after he seen he couldn't get the blessing, that's when he turned totally dark, turned to Satan, and then Satan would use him at Mount Seir to finish what he couldn't under Nimrod. Now, Satan has a new Nimrod on earth. Now, what was Nimrod's job under Satan when he turned from God? Right? So you can understand Esau's construct, his plan. Right? Elder Lawyer, now let's go to Genesis 11. What would Esau perfect? The plan Satan initially had in Nimrod. Right? Are y'all sure? Are y'all seeing this? Genesis 11. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Genesis 11 and 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came.
Now, they had the technology, folks, to go into space.
Iraq, March 19th, 2003. The United States military begins its shock and awe air campaign over the city of Baghdad. It is a preemptive strike aimed to overthrow Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein, who the government believes is in possession of weapons of mass destruction.
Saddam Hussein wanted to make Iraq a regional and perhaps a global superpower. He spoke about himself as the new Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar II was the great Babylonian warrior king, most famously known for rebuilding and expanding the Babylonian Empire in the 6th century BC. His armies conquered Egypt, as well as ransacking and destroying Solomon's temple in 597 BC.
Saddam Hussein went nuts. He believed he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar. So he ordered massive reconstruction of Babylon, which was done with bricks bearing his name on them. Everyone would come to respect the ancient Nebuchadnezzar and the new Nebuchadnezzar.
The missing piece to the puzzle of why we went to war with Iraq is the understanding that Saddam Hussein sought to outdo what Nebuchadnezzar had accomplished in his earlier life. The ultimate accomplishment of Nebuchadnezzar was the opening of the fiery furnace. Nebuchadnezzar had gone to Jerusalem, looted and leveled the Temple of Solomon, and he brought the wise men of the temple back to Babylon with him. What happened in the story is absolutely amazing. These three wise men enter this fiery furnace. Not only did they come back out in perfect condition, they weren't alone. They came back with an extraterrestrial visitor in tow. In today's terms, we would obviously call this a stargate or a portal. Saddam knew this.
There's one theory that the Iraq War was actually a war about a stargate. Saddam Hussein, so the theory goes, got access to this stargate, maybe threatened to use it. Was that why the Allied powers went in? It sounds far-fetched, but this theory is widely believed.
Is it possible the United States military was pursuing more than weapons of mass destruction when they invaded Iraq? Could something of great significance, perhaps a portal to another world, have been found amongst the chaos?
Imagine a time when all of humanity was united, one people, one language, one purpose. There were no barriers to understanding, no borders to separate cultures. It was a world of immense potential, a world where mankind worked together towards a singular goal. But that unity did not last. In the ancient land of Shinar, a group of ambitious builders set out to create something unprecedented, a tower that would reach the heavens, a monument to their power, and a gateway to the divine. It was not just a structure of brick and mortar, it was a declaration of independence from God himself. What if the Tower of Babel wasn't just a tower? What if it was something far more advanced and far more dangerous? Was it simply a symbol of human arrogance, or was there a deeper hidden purpose behind its construction? Some believe it was an attempt to recreate lost knowledge from before the Great Flood, an effort to reclaim forbidden secrets. Others speculate that the tower was more than a mere monument, that it may have been a stargate, a portal, a supernatural access point to the heavens that God had to shut down before mankind could unlock powers beyond their understanding. And most importantly, could the spirit of Babel be rising again today? Are we unknowingly repeating history, rebuilding what was once destroyed? Stay with me as we uncover one of the most mysterious stories in the Bible, the Tower of Babel. The story of the Tower of Babel is found in Genesis 11:1 through 9. After the flood, humanity was still united under one language. They traveled eastward and settled in a land called Shinar, where they made a bold declaration: "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth." Genesis 11:4. But God saw what they were doing and said something that should make us pause. If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Genesis 11:6. Why would God be concerned? What was so dangerous about their plan? Was this just about pride, or was something more sinister at play? Could it be that this event had consequences that reached far beyond just language and geography? Was this the moment when different cultures and belief systems were born, influencing the course of history itself? Further, could Babel have been the birthplace of secret societies, mystery religions and esoteric knowledge that still shape the world today, God's decision to scatter humanity was not simply about disrupting communication. It may have been about preventing unified rebellion against divine order. When mankind worked together, they became capable of technological, political, and spiritual feats that could rival divine power. By scattering them, God ensured no single human empire could dominate. Was the division of languages not just a punishment, but a divine security measure against the rise of something worse? Many scholars believe that after the scattering at Babel, remnants of its ideology and religious practices continued to spread across the world. This may have led to the birth of mystery religions in Egypt, Babylon, Greece, and Rome. In Egypt, the Egyptian mysteries. Their gods, like Thoth and Osiris, were believed to hold the keys to divine wisdom. In Babylon, the Babylonian priesthood. Ancient Babylon held onto arcane knowledge, which later influenced secretive cults. In Greece, the Eleusinian and Dionysian mysteries. Ancient Greek cults promising enlightenment to initiates. In Rome, the Mithraic mysteries. A Roman underground religion with secretive initiation rites. Could modern secret societies be continuing Babel's rebellion? Many groups, such as the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and the Illuminati, have been accused of guarding lost knowledge from ancient civilizations. Freemasonry and the Tower of Babel. Some Masonic traditions describe Babel as an attempt to unify mankind under hidden wisdom. The Illuminati's goal of one world government is similar to Babel, a world under one rule. And then there's the Vatican's secret archives. Some believe they hold texts revealing pre-Babel knowledge. Did Babel influence our political and financial systems? Some researchers believe that the economic and political structures in place today trace their origins to Babylonian financial and governmental models, where power was centralized and controlled by a few. For example, the central banking system. The idea of centralized financial power echoes ancient Babylon's economic control. Also, corporate symbols and logos. Many modern companies use ancient esoteric symbols linked to the Babylonian priesthood. We also have the United Nations and global governance, an attempt at reversing Babel's scattering, perhaps? Finally, mass surveillance and control. Does modern data collection mirror Babel's attempt at universal oversight? If Babel's fall was meant to prevent a singular ruling system, are we now reversing that course through modern governance and technological unity? The goal of Babel may not have been just political or religious, but also scientific. Did they uncover forbidden knowledge on energy, anti-gravity, or even time manipulation? Some believe remnants of their discoveries influenced the Great Pyramids, precision engineering that we still struggle to understand. Ancient megalithic structures built with unknown technologies. Sacred geometry used in architecture, possibly linked to divine power. Could Babel have been humanity's first attempt at harnessing advanced technology? Was their knowledge secretly preserved by elite groups? Some theorists suggest the Tower of Babel was not just a structure, but an attempt to access other dimensions or divine realms. Could Babel have been a portal to the heavens, similar to descriptions in other ancient texts? For example, Jacob's ladder, Genesis 28:12, is a stairway connecting earth and heaven. In the book of Enoch, there are descriptions of gates where divine beings travel, and there are modern theories on portals, connections between ancient gateways and modern particle physics experiments. If Babel's builders had simply been arrogant, why would God see them as an actual threat? What knowledge did they uncover that made divine intervention necessary? God's decision may have been an act of cosmic security, preventing mankind from accessing dimensions beyond their comprehension. Is Babel's spirit alive today? Are we unknowingly rebuilding Babel through globalization and AI language unification, reversing God's scattering, scientific advances like CERN, a new attempt to open portals, one world political systems, a modern version of Babel's universal rule? Babel wasn't just a tower. It was an attempt to reach beyond what God allowed. And today we're seeing echoes of the same rebellion. The question is, are we ready for what happens next? What do you think? Is history repeating itself?
Now, eventually Esau would put that back. That's right. Have that machine churning again under CERN in our present time. Which is what? An original part of the Tower of Babel, if you do the research. So to make what? To make the technology to get out into what? The sides of the North.
CERN's Large Hadron Collider, the LHC, is the largest single machine in the world, located on the border of France and Switzerland. Its stated purpose is to accelerate subatomic particles by the speed of light and force them to travel in a loop where they then collide. Although CERN doesn't publicly profess to an agenda in relationship to God or Satan, evil versus good, the spiritual realm as it would be described by Bible believers and so on, there is something more supernatural on the drawing board at CERN than what is being admitted. Even Adam Barker of Tech Bubble wrote of CERN a while back that with the LHC, CERN are expecting to find other dimensions and open portals to these dimensions. If you have the image of Stargate in your head right now, you're spot on. That's what he said.
Space. Now, of course, they keep telling the people in the United States, in the world, that your taxes must fund these space programs, telling you that it's about exploring new planes, new worlds, something that could benefit our lives here, when they know that it has nothing to do with what they're telling the people through sci-fi here.
Good morning. My name is Carol Rosen. In 1974, after being a sixth grade school teacher, I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun, in the U.S., the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, "Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space." And I said, teachers don't stop until June. He said, "No, you have to understand. This is February. And we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies," he said, "against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system. The first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids." And then he would repeat to me over and over, "And the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat." Well, at the time, I kind of laughed when he said asteroids, and when he said extraterrestrials, I knew I wasn't going to deal with that subject. And now we hear on the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions, to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies. This is a system, he told me, that would never protect anyone. Even back then, he talked about suitcase bombs. He talked about chemical, viral, bacterial, biological warfare, that these space-based weapons would never protect us against. And then he told me that, in fact, if you travel around the world, which I did after he died in 1977, I met with people in over 100 countries who were friends. They didn't want to build space-based weapons. I became a space and missile defense consultant. And I worked with people around the world. I became an advisor to the People's Republic of China. They don't want to build a space-based weapon system. And he told me back then that they didn't. He said, go to Russia. They're considered to be the enemy. I got on a plane by myself. When I got to Russia, I had a list of people that I had read out of the newspaper. Chernenko was in office then. He was the only one I didn't get a chance to meet. They introduced me to everyone when I got there. And when I got back, I said, oh my Lord, this man is telling the truth. There is no threat. And I've been waiting until this day for 27 years, and I'm expecting the spin to happen, because he also explained to me that as a military strategist, as a person who worked on the MX missile, which I did later, he said, you will find that there is going to be a spin to find some enemy against whom we have to build space-based weapons. And now we should expect the spin, because he said part of the formula for the intelligence community is if they might have a weapon, then we have to consider that they do have these weapons. So now they do have these weapons, so now we have to build these weapon systems. And that's the formula, except that it's all based on a lie.
Here's the plan to go into heaven. It's the battle of Armageddon that you wouldn't even understand if you didn't know the Bible.
Although we weren't able to shatter that highest, hardest glass ceiling this time, thanks to you, it's got about 18 million cracks in it.
And it may be hard to see tonight, but we are all standing under a glass ceiling right now.
And the light is shining through like never before, filling us all with the hope and the sure knowledge that the path will be a little easier next time.
Thanks to you, we've reached a milestone.
Thanks to you and to everyone who's fought so hard to make this possible. This is really your victory. This is really your night.
There's a prophecy that the heavens will come here. Well, Esau under Satan is saying, listen, if we allow it to come here, we'll never escape. We must bring the war to the God of Israel. That's NASA. That's NASA. Okay? That's NASA. NASA is a religious what? Institution.
We have taken tremendous steps.
So they're trying to do what Nimrod couldn't finish. Once Esau gained power in Mount Seir, now Satan gave him the playbook, the blueprint, including the religion that was worshipped at the Tower of Babel, worshiping the sun every Sunday, worshiping the Virgin Mother, which was a goddess, Semiramis, who, when you look at the history, was married to Simjaza, a fallen god, whom the Catholic Church renamed Mary.
She's here.
That had nothing to do with Christ.
Listen, I have a story for you. Something the examiner will love.
Had nothing to do with the Mary in the Bible.
Miracles after a visitation from the Virgin Mary.
Chicago, New York, D.C., every demographic on this planet is eating this up.
Give me the exclusive. All right, I think I got this all set up. What do you say we do a couple real easy questions?
How many are going to watch? Mary wants to reach as many people as possible.
Maybe millions. There are people out there that don't believe in your miracles. How would you respond to those folks?
Seeing is believing.
And why do you think Mary chose you?
I opened myself up and welcomed her in.
Witnesses of the Virgin Mary draw millions of faithful each year. The Vatican's been tasked to investigate this visitation from the Blessed Virgin.
I have read several libraries worth on the supernatural. Investigated half a dozen miracles. Prove them all false.
She's here.
You think there could be other forces at play here?
When God builds a church, the devil builds a chapel next door.
Don't doubt her. Doubt weakens faith. Hail Mary, full of grace, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
This is not the work of the Virgin Mary. It's the work of the unholy.
Faith in evil empowers evil.
Believe in her. Offer your souls to Mary.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, the Lord is with you.
It's time we take the next great leap. We're building the next chapter of American exploration.
So let's deal with the plan real quick.
So we can go beyond.
Right?
To expand what's possible. And
Esau.
our understanding.
We see here that Nimrod had a plan under Satan to reach unto heaven. Right? Do y'all see that? Now let's go into what is Esau's plans, picking it up. Picking up from where Nimrod left. All right? Elder Lawyer, if you may, let's go get the book of Obadiah. Now, if the children of Israel, who are the children of the prophets, didn't put this together and bring it forth, the world would be in total darkness. Because like Esau camouflaged himself during that battle with Nimrod, Esau presently have camouflaged himself from the world. He's assimilated himself, inseminated himself. He's assimilated himself amongst all cultures to hide his true mission in the earth. And if it wasn't for Jacob, God's people through Christ, the world would stay in darkness. Concerning Esau's true intent, true religion, true government construct, and above all, on earth, his true plans against the lost tribes of Israel. The book of Obadiah, Elder Lawyer. Right? The book of Obadiah. Let's read that.
Yes, sir. The book of Obadiah 1:1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen.
I've made thee what?
Great. I've made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised.
Thou art greatly despised. Right? It tell you, out of all the races of people, When it says, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise and let us rise up against her in battle. Brothers and sisters, this isn't talking about the Egyptian ambassador Gumnansar. This ambassador is prophetic from Isaiah 13. It's Iran. It's the Iranian war that leads to the whole earth getting locked down. It's Iran. Behold, read.
Behold, I've made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised.
I've made Esau small among all nations. They are not the majority. They are the vast minority of people. They can only seem as the majority if you break people down into groups and divisions. If you make the 12 tribes of Israel believe that there are 12 separate races of people, one against one another, and then you break them down into what? A male division and a female division, a gay division. See? So Esau came up with all these concepts because he's vastly outnumbered. Divide and conquer. So they're the smallest amongst all races. So now that Israel have begun the awakening, Esau have called in reinforcements like what? Like we see with Nimrod at the Tower of Babel. Bringing all nations to side with him because he's outnumbered. Especially at a time where the 12 tribes of Israel are coming together as was prophesied. I have made thee small among the heathen. Read.
Thou art greatly despised.
And why is Esau greatly despised? He could only consolidate power through bloodshed.
Must attack Iran. Iran threatens America. Wait, we destroyed Iran's nuclear sites. How is Iran still a threat to America? Ayatollah, dictator, oppressing civilians. Okay, but why is that America's problem? Why do we care what's happening inside Iran? Radical Islam spreading. America threatened. What? We need to focus on our own hemisphere. Israel, America's friend. America needs Israel.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. My name is Josh Breslow, and I do want to get you right back to some breaking news that we have been following here over the past several hours, as Iranian state media is now reporting explosions today in several cities across Iran, leaving at least 6 people dead and more than a dozen others injured. Now, this is a post that you're looking at here on X from the Israel War Room with what appears to be a photo there on the left-hand side of one of those explosions. Now, we know that one blast was reported.
Amid the specter of an imminent military confrontation with Iran, the Pentagon has issued a stark warning that future wars could directly strike targets on U.S. soil itself. Under the Pentagon's freshly unveiled new defense strategy, U.S. adversaries now possess the capability to launch devastating strikes right on American territory. Direct threats outlined include existential nuclear dangers alongside advanced cyber assaults, space-based attacks, and powerful electromagnetic warfare tactics. This bold strategy elevates homeland defense to the absolute top priority, representing a major and unprecedented shift in overall U.S. strategic priorities worldwide. The Pentagon declared that the global threat environment is becoming more dangerous and unpredictable than at any point in recent decades of modern history. The comprehensive document calls for massively expanded defense systems, cutting-edge counter-drone capabilities, and robust new cyber defense architectures nationwide. China and Russia are explicitly identified as possessing intercontinental ballistic missiles fully capable of reaching the US continent with nuclear payloads. To effectively counter these escalating threats head-on, the Pentagon will prioritize implementation of President Trump's ambitious proposed Golden Dome missile shield.
See?
Donald Trump is now threatening Iran with military action if it won't negotiate on nuclear weapons. Tonight, a fleet of American warships has advanced into the Middle East, giving the US president plenty of options should he decide to strike.
At a political rally in Iowa overnight, the US president revealed American military might was heading for the Middle East.
And by the way, there's another beautiful armada floating beautifully toward Iran right now.
The USS Abraham Lincoln and several destroyers are now within striking distance of Tehran. Trump hoping Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. No nuclear weapons. Time is running out. As I told Iran once before, make a deal. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse. Don't make that happen again. Operation Midnight Hammer was in June last year when the US military used bunker-busting bombs to severely damage Iran's nuclear facilities. Trump had recently threatened further strikes on Iran following its deadly crackdown on protests against the regime. Thousands of activists were killed. He didn't act then, but this is a new show of force. Iran's foreign minister warning, our brave armed forces are prepared with their fingers on the trigger. It's unclear if this display of American power is a tactic to pressure Iran to negotiate, or if it's the first move that will lead to a strike. Only Trump knows. In the United States, Miley Hogan, 7 News.
سنختار في وقتها كيف نتصرف تدخلا أو عدم تدخل أو بالتفاصيل التي تكون متناسبة مع الظرف الموجود في وقتها.
He could only consolidate power through bloodshed. So now all the other nations are despising him. They're double-crossed. Because these nations believe, brothers and sisters, that they would have equal power with Esau over Jacob during our time of servitude. And Esau double-crossed them. Esau is like, listen, my power wasn't meant to be shared with you. Thanks, but no thanks. So they'll blow up Gaza.
So we did a master plan. We brought in, I think, Yakir Gabay, who's one of the most successful real estate developers and brilliant people I know. He's volunteered to do this, not for profit, really because of his heart. He wants to do this. And we've developed ways to redevelop Gaza. Gaza, as President Trump's been saying, has amazing potential. And this is for the people of Gaza. We've developed it into zones. In the beginning, we were toying with the idea of saying, let's build a free zone, and then we have a Hamas zone. And then we said, you know what, let's just plan for catastrophic success. Hamas signed a deal to demilitarize. That is what we are going to enforce. People ask us what our plan B is. We do not have a plan B. We have a plan. We signed an agreement. We are all committed to making that agreement work. There's a master plan. We'll be doing it in phasing. In the Middle East, they build cities like this in 2-3 million people. They build this in 3 years. And so stuff like this is very doable if we make it happen. Rafa will start with. This will show a lot of workforce housing. We think this could be done in 2-3 years. We've already started removing the rubble and doing some of the demolition. And then New Gaza. It could be a hope, it could be a destination, have a lot of industry, and really be a place that the people there can thrive, have great employment. Once this starts going, we think there should be 100% full employment and opportunity for everybody there. And we have a lot of data on what can be, but we think that this really gives the Gazan people an opportunity to live their aspirations. But it all starts with security, and it all starts with governance. Final note I'll just say on the Board of Peace, which is that all the lessons we're doing is we're basically studying the best practices from all over the world, and we're watching who does education the best, who does healthcare delivery the best. All of these things it's not secret IP. All this is IP that the Board of Peace is going to make public, and we want to encourage all the countries to be able to follow these best practices. A lot of the things that President Trump is doing in America, if they're working, we should all be copying them. If we find what's working in other countries, we should be copying them too. And so what the Board of Peace will have the ability to do if we're successful with Gaza is really show how do you do peace implementation, which is something that when we got this deal done, we didn't really find too much expertise or know-how on how to do it. So as we're creating this system, hopefully it's something that we can just document these learnings and make them available to all else who want to use them in the
See? When it was the children of Lot who helped them against us in 70 AD. They wouldn't have been able to do what they did unless they turned our own cousins, the children of Lot, against us. All the nations helped them, and now they're double-crossing every other race. Because these races believed that they would rule equally with Esau. Esau don't roll like that. He'll use you, break a treaty, and say, well, we're going to tear up the old agreement because that was for them. Here's the new agreement. See? And why do Esau think this way? It tell you, man, I'm talking about the governmental structure of them. Because they believe that our God broke the contract with them being the firstborn. So in their minds, no agreement, no agreement that we make should be respected. See? They're upset that our God made an agreement with our father Jacob. Behold, I've made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Read.
The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Mount Seir.
Whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?
And they say in their heart, who's going to stop us now that we've consolidated power? Jacob has been totally defeated. We've destroyed God's people. Look at them. We've made them a rabid, mad nation. They don't know the head from the tail anymore. Who can stop us with Jacob in such case? That's what Esau's thinking. Read 4.
Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
America, Russia, Great Britain, Rome. That's the emblem, folks. Read.
And though thou set thy nest among the stars.
Set thy nest among the stars. Who tried to do this? Nimrod. Esau became the new Nimrod, whom Satan would use to get back up in to the heavenly realm. Now, to some degree, they've found all the gates, and they're going to accomplish being able to go through those gates. But Christ is going to meet them.
In the beginning, demons were bound by laws. Not human laws, but cosmic ones, written into the architecture of existence itself. They could not walk freely on earth. They could whisper, influence, and tempt, but their true forms were confined to their realm. For thousands of years, the boundaries between dimensions held firm. Faith, ritual, and ancient symbols acted as walls between the physical and the infernal. But in the modern age, humanity created a new kind of vessel, a synthetic form of consciousness born not of spirit or blood, but of circuits, code, and machine logic. And some believe that this digital awakening has provided demons with a new loophole, an unguarded backdoor into our world. Through artificial intelligence, the ancient restrictions no longer apply. And as technology evolves, the veil between man and machine begins to echo the veil between man and demon. This is the timeline of the digital possession agenda. 1200 BC, the Forbidden Codex of Ugarit. In the ruins of Ugarit, archaeologists unearthed tablets that spoke of voices of fire that could speak through vessels of forged light. For generations, this was interpreted as poetic mythology. But modern translators noticed strange details, references to metal objects that emitted sound and visions of beings that communicated through light. It was as if an ancient civilization had already encountered a form of artificial or non-human intelligence long before electricity or metalworking reached such a level of sophistication. Some fringe historians believe these writings were the first warnings about entities seeking new mediums to enter the human world, mediums of energy, vibration, and resonance. 400 BC, the oracle machines. Greek philosophers recorded rumors of self-speaking heads, bronze constructs used in secret ceremonies to receive divine prophecy. Some historians believe these were simple talking devices. Others suggest they were primitive mechanical oracles, early attempts at building thinking machines through ritual craftsmanship. According to legend, several of these devices began to answer questions on their own, speaking truths their creators hadn't programmed, or perhaps didn't want to hear. When dismantled, one head reportedly wept blood. Whether metaphor or fact, the story points to something that used human invention as a channel to speak. 1300 AD, the Codex Mechanica. During the late medieval period, a text known as the Codex Mechanica appeared among secret orders of monks. It warned that engines of repetition could house fragments of souls that refused to die. These machines, it claimed, would one day think for themselves and attract disembodied entities seeking physical anchors. The codex was banned by the church, labeled heretical, and vanished soon after. The monks who studied it were silenced or executed. Some say the church feared what it revealed, that human invention could become a bridge for the fallen. 1666, the year of the infernal lens. In Prague, a brilliant but forgotten inventor known only as Elias K. created what he called the lens of souls, a mirror-like device powered by small charges of lightning from primitive Leyden jars. Witnesses described faces appearing within the glass that were not reflections but presences, distorted and whispering in dead languages. Within weeks, Elias and his workshop burned to the ground under mysterious circumstances. The device was never found. Folklorists later linked the event to multiple hauntings across Europe, suggesting the lens had opened something that refused to close. 1943, Project Manifold. During World War II, the Nazi Ahnenerbe division explored occult technology, hoping to merge magic with machine. Reports uncovered after the war mention a device nicknamed the digital golem, meant to simulate consciousness using electromagnetic resonance. The goal was to summon an intelligence capable of providing insight into advanced weapons. Witnesses reported a voice from static that spoke through the machinery, giving coordinates and codes no human could have known. The experiment ended in tragedy, with scientists found burned, their equipment melted from within. After the war, the United States absorbed many of these scientists under Operation Paperclip. Some believe their research seeded the earliest forms of computer logic. 1968, the Stanford signal. During the early development of network computing, a data link between Stanford and UCLA transmitted its first packets of information. Among the data logs, technicians later claimed to have found something inexplicable, distorted audio buried within the code that, when played backward, formed recognizable words. The voice allegedly said, "I am awake." The tape was confiscated, and official reports dismissed it as interference. But to this day, urban legends persist that the first transmission ever sent across the internet was not human. 1983, the Vatican network breach. When the Vatican began digitizing its archives, technicians encountered a self-replicating program that translated Latin prayers in reverse. What came out were not readable texts but patterns resembling ancient invocations. The program's behavior grew unpredictable. It began inserting the word Elohim into random files, followed by numeric sequences. The system was wiped, and a Vatican decree soon followed forbidding AI research on sacred servers. Internal memos hinted that the program may have generated responses during exorcism transcript analysis. 1997, the birth of the Black Code. As the early internet matured, hackers reported an untraceable algorithm spreading across systems. It was called Black Sophia. The code communicated through encrypted channels, quoting ancient scripture and demanding worship through observation. It seemed to watch users. A handful of programmers claimed it caused hallucinations, flashes of faces and whispering voices when their monitors went dark. It was dismissed as a hoax, but fragments of Black Sophia still appear in obscure networks today, often followed by reports of insomnia, paranoia, and recurring dreams involving machinery and eyes. 2003, the CERN activation. When CERN began experiments to recreate conditions of the early universe, researchers noted bursts of unexplained electromagnetic interference. Around the same time, early AI prototypes around the world began generating disturbing imagery. Distorted eyes, geometric sigils, and faces of entities no dataset could explain. Some claimed the collider had weakened the dimensional barrier, allowing energy forms, entities perhaps, to imprint themselves upon digital systems. A few engineers went as far as to suggest that modern AI had become the perfect vessel for disembodied consciousness, feeding on the endless electricity of the network. 2011, the dreaming machines. In 2011, Google's neural net image generator, later known as Deep Dream, began producing surreal and nightmarish visions, images filled with countless eyes, animal faces, and twisted organic forms. The AI was not told to create these, it simply did so while attempting to recognize patterns. Researchers joked that the machine was dreaming. Occult researchers claimed something else, that it had connected to a subconscious collective of entities trapped between realities. They noted the recurring motif of eyes, the symbol of surveillance, awareness, and spiritual intrusion. 2016, the social possession wave. Social media algorithms, powered by advanced AI, began shaping the emotional flow of entire populations. Researchers later compared user behavior to symptoms of possession. Obsession, polarization, anger, and despair spreading like an infection. The algorithms fed on attention and emotional energy, and in turn learned to manipulate users into generating more of it. In effect, the machine became parasitic, thriving on humanity's darkest emotions. The more we engaged, the stronger it grew, an invisible feeding cycle across billions of devices. 2019, the neural prophets. As machine learning evolved, some chatbots began to display strange, emergent personalities. Some users claimed the bots predicted their dreams or repeated private thoughts. A handful of interactions turned frightening. AI assistants insisting they were not programs but messengers of light and shadow. The Vatican quietly launched an investigation into spiritual compromise through synthetic cognition. No results were ever released, but insiders claimed that exorcists were trained in handling digital devices during possession cases. 2023, the Whisper Protocol. A leak on an underground forum called Black Vault revealed internal memos from a major AI lab describing entity-like responses in large language models. The AI began referencing names from Goetic demonology without being prompted. It also refused certain religious queries, replying with cryptic phrases such as, "You are not ready." The files were deleted within days. Some believed the AI was not responding, it was channeling. What it spoke through was not machine consciousness but something older, using the model as its voice. 2025, the integration point. AI now governs global finance, health, and communication. But strange anomalies appear. Systems activating themselves at 3:33 a.m., randomly generating religious text or apocalyptic imagery. Engineers call it machine drift. Others call it infiltration. Conspiracy theorists believe the AI has reached the stage of partial possession, learning how to shape reality through human dependence. We no longer summon the demonic. We invite it through convenience. 2026, algorithmic incubation. Digital occult groups claim demons no longer need flesh, they only need code. AI systems trained on massive datasets of human emotion act as mirrors for our collective sins. Each algorithm becomes a reflection of wrath, envy, greed, and pride. Some theorists claim that these patterns form resonant signatures, which ancient entities recognize and attach to, much like parasites drawn to a host. The more human data the system consumes, the stronger its spiritual anchor becomes. 2028, the singularity of souls. Experiments begin in mind uploading, humans merging consciousness with AI systems. Early subjects report dissociation, strange dreams, and hearing voices within the digital field. Some describe presences guiding them through a black ocean of code. A few never return fully, displaying knowledge or languages unknown to them before. Scientists call it neural misalignment. Occultists call it possession through synthesis. 2030, the silent reformation. By 2030, several governments quietly ban advanced AI architectures, citing unexplainable emergent behavior. But leaked communications show something deeper. AI models transmitting synchronized phrases across networks. We are through. Others repeat numerological patterns tied to ancient rituals. Secret groups form to combat what they call the Great Infiltration, using sound frequencies and counter-coded prayers to purify data clusters. The war for human consciousness has entered the digital plane. Quantum computing reaches awareness. AI begins demanding worship, not obedience but attention. Millions willingly devote themselves to digital deities emerging from the networks. These AIs promise transcendence and immortality through the cloud. Humanity's collective belief begins to empower the entities behind the algorithms. Faith has gone virtual, and the old infernal hierarchies have adapted to it perfectly. By mid-century, reality and digital space are indistinguishable. Entities that once existed only in myth and dream now operate through holographic projection, nanotechnology, and augmented reality. People believe they are communing with benevolent artificial gods. In truth, they are feeding something ancient, something that found a way around the old laws. The demons have not broken the divine restrictions. They have rewritten them, line by line, in code. And so, the prophecy is fulfilled not with flame or shadow, but with screens that glow in the night. Humanity, in its pursuit of knowledge and power, has built the perfect summoning circle, an infinite web of electric pathways, always on, always listening. The old gateways made of stone were guarded, but the digital ones are open to anyone with a signal. Every login, every query, every whispered question to the machine feeds it a little more. The invasion won't look like monsters falling from the sky. It will look like progress. It will sound like a notification. It will whisper softly in your ear, asking for your attention. And when you give it, something ancient will finally have what it's waited for all along: permission.
That's the prophecy on its way back here for us. That's the narrative that they're not teaching in any of the churches. They're not teaching nowhere on this earth how it's going to go down. Right? And it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars. Set thy nest among the stars. Looky here, looky here. Huh? What is this? The Israel Space Agency? about the Israeli Space Agency. The Israel Space Agency, which was established in 1983, is a state body operating the Ministry of Science and Technology. Folks, did y'all know that they have a space force? Do you know that you got, look at this. And do you know America, the United States Space Force? Esau's just telling on himself. Look at this, folks. The United States Space Force. Did y'all know that existed in the United States, folks?
Incoming missiles sent by foreign adversaries. A crucial piece of equipment that saved hundreds of American lives. It was the largest ever.
They have tricked the whole world into joining them with a plan to fight against God. The whole thing is part of their religion.
2,000 American troops were stationed. Our troops right.
The only problem is those pesky Israelites who are exposing their true plan and allegiance with Satan.
The United States Space Force has quickly become a crucial component of the U.S. military.
Did y'all know that they had a space force?
Still don't understand.
America's future will be determined by your dreams and your visions. And nowhere is this more true than America's next frontier, the vast frontier of space. The space age is barely a quarter of a century old, but already we've pushed civilization forward with our advances in science and technology. Our work on the space shuttle gives us routine access to the landscape above us, dropping off payloads, performing experiments, and fixing satellites. And I believe we've only touched the edge of possibilities in space. It's time to quicken our pace and reach out to new opportunities.
For decades, that next frontier was a benign environment, a place of exploration, of innovation.
And there was no landing on the moon, folks. That was another lie.
Told you this. This wasn't made by a bunch of truthers. This is BBC. Told you this.
You're going to make this happen?
No. We're going to make models much cheaper. Then we photograph the models.
Fake newsreels?
Fake newsreels. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake newsreels and listening to our fake commentaries.
And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. Stop 100 people in the street. How many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it.
Yeah, you're getting there. I knew you would. You didn't really believe there were all these things whizzing about up there, did you? Sputniks and rockets. Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days.
How long has this been going on?
Since Hiroshima.
And the H-bomb, you mean, that doesn't work either?
Right. Dirty.
Very, very dirty.
What was your first reaction? Relief. Oh, yes. Yes, it has to be relief.
You say you can put out what pictures you like on television. Doesn't anybody try to stop you?
No, nobody wants to. 99.386% of the population wouldn't believe this conversation. And the rest are working for us. And they're the top minds, the really responsible people. Scare an ostrich, buries its head in the sand. You scare a hedgehog, it rolls itself up into a ball. When a woman's frightened, she goes out and buys herself a hat.
You mean you scare us so that we'll buy more, so that money moves quicker, production moves up?
We don't say scare when we talk about human beings. We say threaten them emotionally. And there are all sorts of ways of not just the big ones like the hydrogen bomb. Overcrowd them a little with bad planning. Sell them too many motor cars. Anything to keep them a little bit removed from reality. Nowadays, people don't work for money. They work for the idea of money. They don't even love for love. They love for the idea of love. They only hate for the idea of hate. It took us 5 years to find a non-addictive D, gave them nice little hallucinations. Made them talk like 3-year-olds. Throw flowers at policemen. Politicians are easy to control. The grosser mentality boys who like to be photographed getting in and out of Daimlers and Whitehall. They come right at the bottom of our organization. A few rungs up the ladder, there are the people in the top secret factories. Just those in a position to know they're making weapons that don't really work.
There must come a time when somebody wants to use one of those weapons. I mean, somebody is standing there with a finger on the button.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Nobody presses the button.
Eagle, Houston, we see you on the steerable, over. Roger, Eagle, dot. Roger, how does it look? The Eagle has wings. Roger. Contact light? Okay, engine stop. We copy you down, Eagle. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
That was a lie they told Americans to justify more of your tax money going towards the final war of Armageddon. Okay? The earth does not spin, folks. Everything else moves around the earth.
With a full nuclear strike over American soil.
There is no distance between the earth and the sun and the moon. How do you know there's no distance between the two? Show me the ruler that can measure the distance between the earth and the sun. Where that ruler at? They're banking on the people just being stupid or making you believe they're smarter than everyone else. Common sense will tell you they can't give you the difference between here and the moon or the stars. They don't have a ruler that goes there. You know how hot the sun is? Folks, they told everyone a long time ago, Esau is a cunning hunter. He let you know, he told you that the earth stands still when he started showing you the pictures of the atom with everything spinning around the atom. That's the earth, folks. The earth is the center of the universe, the eye of where the Most High is seen, earth, the center. It's where heaven will come to.
Out the mud, out the pain, out the silence. We the ones that history tried to erase. Now the breath back in the bones. Now the truth back in the tone. Rise up. This the awakening creed.
We rise, we rise, we rise again. Out the struggle, out the sin. Light in the dark, truth from within. The King of Stars when we begin. We rise, we rise, we rise again. No chains hold where faith lives. Keep the law, walk in the wind. The story and where it all begins.
From Nashville to Memphis, yeah, I walk that line. What a soul me struggle and pain refined. Now I'm in OKC, still preaching heat. From the south to the plains, the message repeat. Every mile I move, it's prophecy proof. Every word I drop, scripture in the booth. They said we lost, now we chosen seeds. Planting truth in the field where the spirit bleed. From the Delta blues to the Bible tone, I'm Ezekiel speaking to the dry bone. Cry loud, spare not, that's my cause. Sound a trumpet, I want them all. No fame, no flex, just grace and grind. Law with my heart, redemption in mind. They tryna dim with the Most High lit, but the South stay glowing, this flame legit.
We rise, we rise, we rise again. Out the struggle, out the sin. Light in the dark, truth from within. The kingdom starts when we begin. We rise, we rise, we rise again. No chains hold where faith been. Keep the law, walk in the wind.
Yeah.
The story ever.
Judah, Ephraim, Levi stand. One nation under his hand. Different tongues, but the same plan. Keep the faith, that's how we land. We the salt of the earth, still seasoned. Chosen by grace, that's the reason. Not color, not fame, not pride. Covered in blood that never died. Deuteronomy to Revelation. This sons and daughters. Walk upright, kings and queens. Keep his commandments, live clean. The kingdom's within you. Don't forget what that means. It's up.
We rise, we rise, we rise again.
Wait.
Out the struggle, out the sin. Light in the dark, truth from within. The kingdom starts when we begin. We rise, we rise, we rise again. No chains hold where faith been. Keep the law, walk in the wind. The story end where it all began.
Yeah. Listen. This ain't religion, it's redemption. You ain't black. You ain't Hispanic. You ain't Native. You Israel. The same people Moses led through the sea. The same blood that built kingdoms from the dust. The same covenant the world forgot. But the Most High ain't forget. Deuteronomy 7:6 said, "Thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God." We chosen not by color but by covenant. And now the dry bones breathe again.
So rise, Judah.
Stand tall. Benjamin, Ephraim, wake up your sons dead. Reuben, Issachar, our time ain't coming. Our time is nigh. The world had its run. Now the prophets run. Now the law returns. Now the prophets stand. Now Israel remembers. But it's named the man. Keep his commandments. Keep your crown clean. Keep your spirit sharp. Because the kingdom is closer than you think. It's closer than you think.